Blog Talk Radio.
Yo, Bantam.
¿Cuál habla, Belencho?
¿Qué es lo que está sonando por ahí?
Vaina y que.
Acabo de llegar a mi país.
Suave, oye esa vaina.
Acabo de llegar a mi país. Uy, ¿y qué es lo que yo escucho por ahí? Rapeadores que están pegados, están sonados. ¿Cómo va a ser? Con puro ritmo baiteado. Acabo de llegar a mi país. Uy, ¿y qué es lo que yo escucho por ahí? Rapeadores que están pegados, están sonados. ¿Cómo va a ser? Con puro ritmo baiteado.
Ellos son pura copia, siempre fotocopia, el mismo ringtone pero desde otro Nokia, enredando a la gente con esa basofia, así que flow de paquete y directo de copia, a mí no me interesa de dónde tu flow, así que deja la pereza, bye, escribí que eso da de tristeza, a estas alturas son pura copia.
All right, welcome to the latest edition of the Jeff Mayweather radio show. My name is Jody, and of course, as always, I am joined by the guy the show's named after. Jeff, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good, and yourself?
What are you laughing for?
Huh? No, it's both our show.
It's a what show? Oh, well, it's named after you, though. You know, I gotta. No one's tuning in to see the Jody Cohn show. So.
We're equal partners.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we talk and chat a little about what's going on, but we're gonna skip all that tonight. We have a big show tonight. We got two guests. In a little while, we have Art Jimmerson coming on, who was a former heavyweight boxer. Best known for his time in the UFC. But first, let's bring on a guy who's got a big fight coming up here in August 11th, against Sergio Mora. A guy that you know a little bit, Jeff. You've worked with him a little before. Without further ado, let's bring him on. Is Brian Vera. Brian, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Thank both of you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. First before we get to you, let's talk a little bit about, a fight that this happened this past weekend, Andy Lee and Cesar Chavez. You were working with Andy, right, on that fight?
Yeah, I went down there for 3.5 weeks to spar with him to help him get ready. Me and Edwin Rodriguez.
So what did you think of the fight? How it went? I mean, you'd worked with Andy, you fought him before. Going in, did you think he had a good chance of winning the fight? And did it play out? How did it play out according to what compared to what you thought it would?
Yeah, I mean, I think he did good at the beginning, but I don't know. We were talking about it in the camp when we were in camp with him. He wasn't sparring for like maybe 6-7 rounds at a time. I don't think he ever sparred a full 12 rounds. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say he didn't try as hard as like his first training camp, but it just seemed like they maybe should have pushed him a little harder. And he kind of faded towards the 6-7 round. But Chavez is a big, strong guy, man. So with a guy like that, you got to be able to push him back a little bit too, I think. But I don't know. I think that Chavez is just too strong for him.
Jeff, you'd heard what Brian just said. What did you think about, and I know you're a real stickler for people being in shape and, really pushing themselves. I know, like, for example, Roy Nelson, you trained him as if he's a smaller fighter. So, knowing what you just heard, I mean, what would you have done with Lee to get him prepared for the fight as far as, sparring and that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, of course, I wasn't there, so I don't really know exactly what he did in camp or whatever. But I think that one thing that he did wrong was the fact that he got away from the plan. The game plan was to box, and when he was boxing, he was doing great. And once he started sitting down and staying on the ropes, of course, Chavez took advantage because he's the bigger, stronger guy.
Brian, what did you think as far as, if the situation were happening to you with Chavez? There's a lot made that, with the gloves not being weighed, and then also the failure of Chavez not having to take a drug test. If that was you, how would you react to that, and what do you think about him getting away with that? You're from Texas, so you're familiar with how things work down there.
Yeah. I mean, Texas get a bad rap, because of things like that. But I would have been frustrated too. I mean, he didn't do the drug test either. I thought maybe he did, but I guess he didn't do that either, did he? Supposedly he didn't do the drug test.
He hadn't.
Yeah, see that? I don't know. I'm sure Jeff would say the same thing. I definitely wouldn't let that pass. You know what I mean? I think Emmanuel Stewart's trying to do something about that right now, but that's the second time he's done that, so obviously there's something up with it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, it's the second time a guy has, and I mean, like you said, I mean, he gives Texas a horrible rap because not just him. I mean, James Kirkland did it the fight previous. He said, "No, I'm not taking no test." And then he said that, "Oh well, I'll take the test after the fight's over with." But it doesn't matter if you take it when the fight's over with because you need to be able to take it before the fight even proceeds. But I mean, of course, no one knows what happened after that. So I mean, it's a horrible rep, for Texas because it seems like they let anything go. Just because a guy has a name, I mean, he can get away with anything.
Yeah, and then he's got a good relationship with with Jose Sulaiman and those guys. So I think they treat him like it's his own kid. So they kind of let Chavez get away with pretty much everything, which is not right.
What's even stranger to me. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, go ahead, Joey.
I was say what's even stranger to me is that the situation with the gloves. I mean, we can speculate whether or not he was taking something and that's why he wouldn't get tested. But unless you are blatantly cheating, why in the world? And you guys might know this better than me. Why would you not just slap your gloves up there on a scale and let them be weighed?
Yeah, it don't make sense to me, really. I mean, that's a small thing. I don't know. They were just trying to be arrogant and assholes about it, like Freddie Roach and them. But I would think they would just do it unless they're trying to hide something. It just seems a little fishy to me. But I mean, I really don't know. It's
too many red flags. I mean, it's too many red flags, and actually, all it does is it taints the victory. I mean, maybe he would have beat Andy Lee with none of this stuff that we're speculating, but at the same time, I mean, they've left the door wide open for anybody to take pot shots at him. Because I mean, boxing, like anything else, I mean, it does have rules, and I mean, part of the rules is, especially for a guy that's already been busted on PED, I mean, he should mandatorily be taking a test before anybody. I mean, the state itself should mandate that he takes a test.
You look at him and his brother. They look like they look like bodybuilders when they walk out there. Before they didn't have no muscle, no nothing. It just, I mean, I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they are for sure, but it just looks funny to me. Yeah.
No, but it happened so quickly. I mean, there was a time when he was a guy that really couldn't punch. He was a guy that nobody thought had a chance of doing anything. But now, all of a sudden, I mean, people are saying that, well, this guy might be Martinez now. I mean, no one in the world gave him a chance against Martinez. And I mean, and like I said, one thing is this: when you don't have nothing to hide, you're bold about proving it because you want the whole world to appreciate your talent and what you have. But when you have all these smoke screens, all these red flags popping up here, there, and so on and so forth, I mean, everything is in question. So, I mean, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to believe. But I mean, if I was Mayweather Stewart, I would do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I would. So I talked to him the other day, and he wasn't happy with the whole situation. But he also said what you said. He said that Andy didn't stick to the game plan. But it's just the way it went. But he did say that he wants to do this drug thing and get it all squared away because you're trying to make it a fair fight in there,
Well, now, Brian, you
now
fought
you
Andy.
have so many other guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to just change a little bit there. Brian, you fought Andy Lee, twice, obviously, splitting with him. As far as a fighter, did you find it easy, or, I mean, how he was in the ring, was it easy? Did you have a tough time throwing him off his game plan? Did you think that he was, what was his shape, as far as him being in shape and how he was to work with him there?
Well, the second time I fought him, I think we just went in there with trying to box him and trick him instead of I should have did somewhat what I did the first time and kind of be a bully to him and be aggressive. That's kind of what I did for sparring because they wanted me to come at him and it was kind of, I was successful when I was sparring him too, so I should have never got away with doing that and trying to, but it was a learning experience. But if I were to change one, if I were going to change it, I definitely would have just came at him kind of like Charlie did, and just kind of bully him a little bit, make him fight, you fight.
Well, now you got another guy that's seems like everybody wants to avenge themselves against you. So here coming up in August 11th, you're going to have a rematch against Sergio Mora, who you've beaten a split decision the first time. You're going to be an underdog again going into this fight. What do what's the plan as far as repeating your past success?
I'm gonna go down in Houston again for like 7 weeks, just try to get in the best shape I can, and just be the aggressor. He's not a big puncher, and he just, he likes to be flashy and do that type of thing. But I kind of just want we kind of just want to do the same thing we did the first time, but maybe be a little more aggressive. And after the press conference, I want to knock his ass out. Now, he's talking a lot of shit, but no, we'll see what happens.
Well, give us a little recap on what went on in the press conference.
Nah, he's just talking about how, of course, he was talking about Shane Mosley. That he beat Shane Mosley, and then he was that I was a dirty fighter, and that he was gonna knock me out this time. And I'm not big on running my mouth, so I just he pushed my button, so I kind of got up there and started talking shit back a little bit. But just let him know that he got to have my respect. But he's one of those guys, man, that he have kind of a bad sport. He just kind of hard headed a little bit. But we'll see when we get back in that swing in the ring. It's gonna that's when it all counts.
Jeff, you've trained a ton of people and been involved in a lot of the press conferences like that. How you can see Brian got a little upset with the way Moore acted. How important is the gamesmanship that's involved in these press conferences? And and is it effective if you can throw someone off your game plan?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes you can because Mike Tyson was a master at doing it. I mean, Floyd is a master at doing it. And, you have certain fighters that can actually, once they get a fighter to act as though they haven't, that means that, you got them. At least you got their attention and you woke them up. But at the same time, sometimes it can backfire. Sometimes you can wake up a sleeping lion, and that lion's going to have the biggest roar ever, when he get in the ring because you pissed him off. So, I mean, it can work both ways. So
I think that kind of depends on the style of fighter. You have, someone like Brian here is not necessarily, he's not a slick boxer. He's more of a, he's going to go in there and just throw leather. So, someone in his style, I think it's maybe more conducive for him to be angry than to be calm and collected.
I mean, I think that Brian's gonna be Brian. And I think the one thing and that's the most important thing. I mean, because if you beat the guy once, you obviously you can beat him again. Like he said, that he wants to use probably the same approach, but just be a little more aggressive. And probably in being more aggressive, I mean, chances are he'll probably got a good chance of stopping the guy. But but it's also one of those things that he can't go in there hot-headed and just basically just with his mind set on just knocking the guy out. You got to just let it happen because a lot of times when you think knockout, a lot of times you start running into punches and things like that normally because only thing you're worried about is I got to land this shot, and you're not really, the game plan is kind of gone. So Brian still has to be focused, he still got to be smart, and he got to come in there with a game plan.
Okay. Yeah, Brian, you're 30 years old, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you're 30. You're just on the outside looking in, of the real top tier, big name fighters there. This is a fight that's really going to give you an opportunity to do that. So, I mean, what are you trying to, what kind of statement are you trying to make in this fight? I mean, this is your time. So a great performance here. What's it going to do for you in your career?
I mean, just like what at the press conference, I was still talking about, like, for both of us, we both need this win to get that next step. Maybe like like Chavez or any of them guys. Of course he's fighting Martinez, but we get a win here and they take care of you. They give you another fight, maybe not such a hard fight, but get another win. And they're I think they're gonna try to build up whoever wins this fight, which I think is gonna be me. But at the same time, it's like we're kind of both there at a crossroads right now. We both have to have this win. I definitely can't afford a loss. I know he can't either. So I think that's going to make for a good fight, and both of us are going to be hungry and ready.
And now explain us your training situation. I know not too long ago you changed trainers. So
yeah.
So explain us the change in the trainers and you know and what the new camp, you know, what you're learning there and the differences between that and, you know, what you went through before.
Well, like, you know, the first one with Andy Lee, the rematch, I got with a guy in Austin that's been training fighters for a long time, but he actually had medical problems. He had problems breathing. He went to the doctor, so he can't even train fighter anymore. So, like, I went up to Vegas and worked with Jeff. I mean, you know, that would have been a great mix too, because I know he's a great trainer as well. But the situation here, we already have many commitment with Ronnie Shields. We kind of fell in that place. But you know, the main thing over here in Houston is there's always boxing. There's good boxing. There's you got all the great sparring that you need, and then Ronnie knows his game. So it's a way better camp than what I have in Austin, because you got James Kirkland, but that's about it. And you know, you're not gonna get any better by just, you know, beating people up and not having somebody get in your ass and make you work, you know.
And so how is your game, you know, evolving, you know, within the camp then? What new things are you learning?
I mean, I feel like it did good. I only spent 4 weeks over there the first time, and I came back home, and I'm about to go back for 7 weeks. So, you know, I think the sky's the limit right now. I started boxing late, so it's I'm still learning. You know, I'm still trying to pick up this game. You know, I'm still trying to figure out a lot of things and find my style. Right now, I'm just more aggressive and just try to come at you and things like that. But I think I'm more athletic than what I show, and hopefully I can bring that out in one of these fights.
Now, Jeff, you actually weren't. You didn't actually know Brian before you worked with him. Was it January or December you were out here? What month was that?
Yeah, what was it? I want to say it was when Mo fought.
Yeah, I think that was December, wasn't it? I don't know. Well, you came out here and Jeff. Jeff, you had to work with Brian. You know, what did you think of him? You know, I mean, in a little bit of time you spent with him as far as his skills in the ring.
No, I think that Brian was, just like he said, I mean, I think that, you know, he's a very athletic guy, and he's probably a whole lot better than that he's showing, because of the fact that someone has to bring it out of him, you know, and I mean, he caught on, you know, really quick. I mean, he's a very quick learner, and he's also a student of the game. So, I mean, it was a pleasure working with him for that short time, and even in that short time, I thought that he had, you know, potential of not just being a slugger, but also being, you know, a good technical boxer if he chose to.
Right.
And Brian, how important is it? You know, I mean, I know we all think we can go out there and, you know, beat anybody's ass, but how important is the right trainer to you to get, you know, everything possible out of your talents?
You know, I've had this is my you know, fourth trainer, so to me it's like it's all about with the respect. Like Jeff, I know if I stayed trade with him, it'd be the same thing. Like he's already established himself, and everybody knows who he is. So it's like you can't do nothing but respect him. So that's gonna make you get better. Just like Ronnie, you know, I got put in a situation, and I'm not gonna ask no questions. I'm just gonna go to work and believe in everything he says, just like I would with Jeff. You know, I know what he's telling me makes sense. I know it's not gonna be no, you know, just telling me just to talk. You know, everything he says is gonna make sense, and it's up to me to you know, to stick with it and learn.
So, and then as far as, I mean, do you think, you know, having gone through 4 trainers, do you think that's kind of cost you a little bit as far as, you know, where you could have been at this point in your career?
No, I mean, I just don't want to say that just because I have, you know, I'm respecting. But at the same time, it's like the first guy I had a Cuban here for all of him for 5 years, and when I went on the contender show, when I got off, our contract ended, and it was more of that situation where he, you know, they wanted to extend the contract for way too long, man, and I just didn't want to put myself in that situation where I was stuck, and that's all that was. It wasn't that he was a bad trainer. I think it was more of the fact that a business situation, and then, you know, this guy got hurt. So I think everything happens for a reason, though, man. I just got to keep on going, and when this all ends, it all ends, you know.
Well, it's not even being, disrespectful. Sometimes if you go from trainer to trainer, you had 4 of them, it's just the continuity doesn't get a chance to build up. You can, it's just like Jeff, you can probably test for this. As each fight goes on, your compatibility and how well you know your fighter is going to increase with each fight.
Right.
I mean, Jeff, how about you at Celestino? I mean, like I said, that's one thing able to see as you go along. How does the, the bond between the fighter work as they go along more and more fights?
Well, I mean, basically, me, myself, personally, some trainers keep it strictly business, and when I say that, that means I'm your trainer at the gym, that's it. Once I leave the gym, you go your way, and you go your way. But me as a trainer, I'm not that way. I mean, I have a genuine relationship with all my fighters. I mean, I hang out with them. I do things with them. I'm there for them if they need me for anything. So, I mean, and I think that that's more important a lot of times than, I wouldn't say necessarily your ability to train, of course, because you should be a good trainer. But the one thing is this, is that, I mean, you got to actually get a chance to know a person and know what makes them tick, know when they're having a bad day, know that, know if there's something negative going on in their life and that's going to affect them that day or anything like that. Because if you don't get a chance to know the fighter, as a person, you really don't know him. That's basically, you just have a person that you come into the gym, y'all do your business, he go home. And, I mean, you never know. I mean, he comes to the gym one day, he feels like shit. It may be something happened with his woman or anything. Anything could happen. And it shows in his training. But just because you're the trainer, you just go through the process of training and you never even know what's really going on with this person. And this can probably even carry into the fight. So, I mean, you actually need to know. As a trainer, I think that it's imperative to get to know that person. And get to know their personality, get to know, the things that make them tick, the things that, when you say, do this, that person is they're going to respond to it in a positive way. I mean, there's so much more to just being a trainer than just, holding mitts and telling a person what to do. It's so much more.
Now, Brian, you fought some of the bigger names. You beat Andy Lee, you beat Sergio Moore in the first fight. But, for some reason, you're always like the other guy in the fight. So going back in here with Moore, who's got the bigger name, is this really, do you look at this as really the chance to make a statement, even though you beat him once, is this really your opportunity to, say, hey, I'm here too, and really, throw your name into the mix for the upcoming fights?
I think so. I think it's more. I think this is a bigger opportunity than it was even for the first fight, because the first fight was just everybody knew that I was going to fight Andy Lee. If I beat Sergio Moore. So I just think there's a lot more doors are going to open up this time. Sergio Moore still got a pretty big name where I think it makes sense to do the rematch now. I think he's been wanting to do it, but before I don't think it made as much sense as it does now. So I think so, man. He's acting like he's confident and everything like that, but he knows he's gonna be in a fight when the bell rings. He knows he's gonna be in a dog fight, and it's hopefully I can show the people a different look and a little bit. It's just the fact that everybody knows that I come to fight, but I kind of want them to not to always just be like he's a brawler and he just want to bang. Be able to move his head, and slip, and do things that I wasn't shown before. And then back to what Jeff was saying, like he was talking about, you can lose your cool and everything. That's what happened to me when I was on Contender. Me and Jadon Connerton were getting into it, and I couldn't even sleep at night before I was so mad, man. And I come out there and trying to knock him out with one punch, and he knocked me out in the second round. So I know that's why, because I let it get to my head, and I go in there and I don't even remember the fight really. That's how bad it was, man. So what he's saying made perfect sense.
Now, Jeff, what you just said a minute ago, by having a bond with the fighters, and some of you have, Pellicini, he can be, hot-headed at times. So how important is that for you to recognize, someone like Brian's, like so mad they can't, see straight, and get them back, focusing on what they should be doing?
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, me and Celestino, I mean, it's almost like, I mean, he has a great deal of respect for me, and I have a great deal of respect for him. as well. And, you know, he values my opinion. And he knows that I'll go to bat for him, you know, if need be in any situation. And so, you know, just like, you know, sometimes, you know, Celestine, like you said, I mean, of course, I'm not going to say no name, but, you know, there's a person that actually just pisses him off. And it's almost like he can get pissed off at just the sound of the name. So it's one of those situations when, you know, when it comes to that, I just try to take his mind off of that and just focus on what we need to do. You know, and like I told him, I said, you're a promoter yourself. You got to learn how to be, you know, a person that don't get caught up in it. Don't get caught up in a situation. The situation is going to work itself out, you know, and basically, and of course, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I mean, most of the time he cools out and, you know, and he's actually fine afterwards. And then I can't say he's fine for a long time, but sometimes he'll get right back to it. And then, you know, and then also I have a lot of times I'll call Miguel because Miguel can calm him down as well. So I'm glad I have a person that can actually talk to him just like I can. And now that he's hearing it from me and he's hearing it from somebody else, then he understands it, you know, a lot more, and then basically calms himself down.
Hey, so Brian, you know, we just got a couple minutes left here, and we got our Jimmerson coming on in just a second. So how is that? You know, you said you lost your cool there in the contender, so now you're a little older. So what do you think? You know, have you been able to control your emotions as you've gotten older? You know, is more, you know, you said you got a little bit at the press conference, that's one thing, but you know, any chance that you carry that in the ring with you, or you know, use it to your advantage, or does this work as a detriment to you?
I just think, you know, now, like you said, you know, I'm more experienced now, and it's like, in my eyes, I just look at it as he didn't do this the first time. He's real respectful, so I think he's going there already beat. You know, I think he is like a mechanism where he's scared. I think, man, he's trying to hype himself up. It seems like to me, and you know, I just look at it like that. I'm not even letting it get into it. I know at the end of the day, I got to go get ready and train the best I can for the 7-8 weeks that I'm gonna be training. And I'm not even really worried about it, man. To be honest with you, I just, you know, it does make me mad at the time, just for a minute. But I wasn't trying to throw no bows at him, nothing like that. I wasn't mad enough to want to like push him and knock him out or anything. I was just like, whatever, you know. I felt like I was beating him mentally, really.
All right, well, we're looking forward to that. Like I said, you'll be in the first time, so hopefully you'll take care of business again. That's August 11th down there in San Antonio.
Yes,
Brian,
sir.
really appreciate it. You know, tell the folks where they can follow you on Twitter, websites, anything like that.
Yeah, you can follow me on BV Warrior on Twitter, and then I got Brian Vera on Facebook. And thank y'all for having me, man. Jeff, it was a pleasure talking to you. You too, Jody, man. You always been good to me, so thank you.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I have to get you back after your victory.
Yes, sir, man. Thank y'all.
All right, thanks. That was Brian Vera. Appreciate his time. All right, well, we're going to go right from, we're going to keep it rolling here. We're going to go from one guest right to another. Our next guest is also a boxer, and he's probably most known for his time in UFC, and then in the original UFC 1, and that's Art Jimmerson. Art, you there? Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you joining us.
No problem.
All right, so we understand you're training out there in California at the UFC gym now?
Yes, sir. Yep. I'm a trainer out at both gyms, the one over in Rosemead, also the one in Torrance.
So that's pretty impressive. I mean, I bet you had no idea going to the first UFC that would end up actually being kind of your long-term employer, huh?
Yeah, I'm still kind of dazed by it. It's kind of funny because, like I say, looking back at how everything originated, and then for me to be a part of the company, it's pretty cool.
Well, one thing you might not know, not many people know yet, we did I'm sorry, you got Jeff Mayweather's on the show here with us. We did a video a week ago, and kind of like a spoof video where Jeff was coming out of his retirement, he's going to fight, and he ends up fighting Roy Nelson in his debut MMA fight that we had. And as a tribute to you, we had Jeff have the one boxing glove on.
Wow. Hey, Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm great.
So, the one thing you guys definitely have in common, you're both working with MMA fighters now that are, they're working on their boxing. Jeff's worked with, Roy Nelson, we just said. He's worked with King Mo, works with Danny Castillo, TJ Dillashaw, who else am I missing? Jeff worked with Vitor a little bit. So, I'd like to get you guys, since you're both trainers, what you guys think is the differences between training the MMA guys as far as the boxers? So we'll start with you, Art. What kind of difference did you see there?
Well, of course, being a fighter, especially, since I was 14, I think that, of course, I have more knowledge for the upper body. The one thing I did lack as a MMA fighter, I didn't know what it meant. I mean, I first got into it. Nobody even, basically told me about it. So I went in blind at it. I mean, I ended up fighting Hoist Gracie, out of all people. So, when I first got into it, they tried to show me a couple things, but I knew nothing about sprawling, nothing about, certain holds. So, what I did know how to do was punch, though. So knowing how to punch, that was my leverage. But, again, you can't punch if you're on the ground. So I wasn't able to, capitalize on that. But right now I'm working with the 5-4, basically jabs, how to turn their power into their punches. Basically, how to roll and move. Do a lot of boxing techniques that a lot of MMA fighters lack.
Yeah, let's kind of, I guess we'll start at the beginning and kind of get to the present there. Like I said, other than Hoist Gracie, you're one of the biggest names to come out of the first UFC, and it was because of the one glove thing. I know you've told the story many times. Just for those, it's probably more on the MMA side. So for our boxing listeners, how did that all come about with wearing the one glove, and are you really happy with the way you've been portrayed? Because you had really distinguished boxing career, but yet you're more known for the UFC thing.
Yeah, well, again, let's say, give glory to God. I am a born-again Christian. I want to say that with the UFC thing, I was scheduled to fight Thomas Hearns for a world title fight. I was ranked in the top 10 at light heavyweight. So at the time, I hadn't lost in 5 years. So they wanted a legitimate boxer. When they found me, they offered me to fight at first, and I verbally agreed. And my attorneys at the time, we all did it together as a group. But then when I found out how barbaric it was, I tried to pull out of it. And they wouldn't. They said, they had me to verbal contract. So they ended up upping the money a little more. They said, we'll go ahead and give you a larger lending insurance. So I was okay with that. But again, going to it, it was just like I said, it was like being a new driver on a 405 highway. I mean, I knew nothing what I was doing. So I got in there. And, and all respect to Roy, I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great fighter. But I think, if I had some type of knowledge about, how to go in there and do something different, I think I would be a lot better. He said, he came at me, kicking at me. I never saw anybody kick at me, at that point. So by him kicking at me, he threw my whole game off. So I just try to, dance lateral. And again, like I said, I just didn't have the knowledge. And the one glove thing came on because I was getting ready to fight Tommy Hearns, and at the time I didn't want to hurt my hand, hit him. But I figured if I'm knocking out guys with 10-ounce gloves on, I'm going to break my hand, hit him in the face with no gloves on.
Now, Jeff, I assume, did you watch any of the early UFCs, Jeff?
No. I didn't watch new one.
So now, Jeff, you were the total anti-MMA guy. Now you've had a chance to work some of these guys a little bit. How have your thoughts on the sport changed? And I think yours too, Art, because I know you're a boxer first, so and obviously you're involved a little bit now. So what do you guys think as far as not UFC, but MMA in general, compared to boxing?
I mean, I've come to appreciate it now. I've come to appreciate the fact that it's not just one art form that you have to learn. You got to learn jiu-jitsu. You got to learn how to grapple. You got to and you got to learn how to strike. So I mean, to me, I think that's a lot. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and also, actually getting a chance to be close to the ring and actually seeing, a guy get hit with those small gloves like that in the face. It's kind of like I have a different respect for it, but it's kind of like I have a different respect for it because, I still look at it as a form of, it's a combat sport, and so I respect it in that same sense. But I think that, like people think boxing is It's crazy. Now, when I look at this, me as a boxer, I think this is crazy. But I can't respect it because I know that they're well-trained athletes and they're not just going out there just street fighting. I mean, they're actually, they're fighting with an art form.
And Art, as far as, you were an active boxer, around the same time the Mayweather brothers were all working in the ring. What did you think of them? I mean, putting you on the spot a little bit with Jeff here on the radio, but did you follow them at all, and what did you think of them as fighters?
Yeah, well, you know what? I agree with Jeff. The other thing I want to say is that, boxing is my first love. I've been doing it since I was 14. MMA, they call it the ultimate fighter. That's exactly what it is. It's the ultimate fighter because you're using more than just, boxing, using groundwork. I've learned to respect it because, to me, these guys are awesome, man. Especially being around the gym, seeing these guys go to work, the moves they're doing because, it's an art. And I've grown to become a fan. I'm a big fan of the sport. And it's like when the big fights come on, I love to watch it because, like I said, a guy can be in one position and before you know it, he can turn around and he's out. I learned that from Hoist. After watching him, and even getting a chance to, over the last few months, get a chance to hang out with him a little bit. I learned to respect him because, like I said, it's not about how small you are or how much power you have. It's all about capitalizing your strengths. You know what I'm saying? So they said, when you get out on the ground, it's like that's the game right there. So I've learned to become a big fan of it because it is the ultimate fighter. For us, using your whole body. You know what I'm saying? But again, my first love is boxing, but I've learned to appreciate the sport because they use their whole body.
Well, what is the, you were calling out Hoist there for a while on Facebook. I know you'd wanted the rematch. Nothing ever came to that as far as I know of. But, Hoist, he was just, in the news here lately saying he'd get back in the UFC if the offer was right. Was that fight ever close to being made, and did you really want that, or was that more of a, something thrown out there to get some attention?
No. I definitely wanted that. Not only that, but, I don't know, Jeff, I know Kimmel just fight. I wanted to fight Kimmel because, like I said, my thing was I was so portrayed as the villain in the first fight.
Oh, no, wait. Let me stop you there. No, he's not training Kimbo. He was King Mo.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I like Kimbo. I'm sorry. My fault.
No, not Kimbo.
Okay. Yeah, I'm calling out Kimbo's fight. This is what I wanted, Kimbo's fight. Because, like I said, the thing about it, going into the first UFC, I was blindfolded. They really used me in a way because, I was a top-rated fighter, and I was going to fight, again, like I said, for a world title. And, when it came out, I thought I was portrayed as a guy who had no kind of strength. I hadn't lost in 5 years. But in saying that, I was trying to get Hoist, trying to lure him back in because being at the UFC for the last 2 years, I learned a lot for his grappling and for his groundwork. So now I think my game's a lot more better. Of course, a lot more better than it was in the beginning. Now I know how to do different things, like explore different moves. I wouldn't allow Hoist to do the same thing he did the first time. So then once he decided not to do it, that's when I said with that, Kimbo's coming into boxing. And if he's coming into boxing, at least give me a shot to redeem myself by fighting him. And I guess, I hadn't heard back from him.
So yeah, that'd be a good one for you. I think you and Kimbo, that'd be an interesting little fight there. What do you think of him as a boxer? He wasn't. You said he. Go ahead.
I respect him. I respect every man who gets in the ring, and like I said, I just think that he doesn't have the experience I have. For being a real fighter. He's got a couple of knockouts against some tomato cans, but. Boy, being enough for Olympians part time, I've already fought 5 world champions, and I've been, 10 miles away numerous times, so I know how to, pace myself, I know how to, take punches and also roll with punches. So, they're talking about how he's big, he's strong. In boxing, that doesn't matter, what I'm saying? It's how you fight. So I think I've got a lot more experience than he has for, being a professional fighter. I've been fighting for the last 20-some years as a professional fighter. Right
now, right after your UFC fights there, then towards the end of your career, it didn't go so well. At what point, did you really think? It's got to be hard for a fighter, having never stepped in the ring and probably never will, and not being in tip-top shape. For both of you, how do you know when it's time to get out there? I know Jeff, you went out on, on a winning note, but art didn't go so well for you. Was it a point of, necessity to get in there, with needing the paycheck, or just the desire to compete, or what kept you going on when wasn't going so good at the end after such a good run for such a long time? Okay, Jeff, that's you first for me. You want to go first? All right.
Well, with me, what it was, all right, what it was with me was, I guess, when you start looking at it as a job. Growing up, I loved boxing so much, man. It was like I would eat, sleep, and drink boxing, And in doing so, I mean, I love the sport. I love the craft. I think once I started realizing it becoming a job, like a paycheck, that's when it's time to get out. Once we start saying, Dad, what am I? We start questioning and say, why are you fighting this guy? Is it for the money? Is it for the glory? What is it for? So at that time, to the end of my career, I was taking a lot of dumb fights because I became self-managed, and a lot of times after the UFC fight, basically, I took some wrong turns where I was offered quick money, good money for some as a stepping stone. You know what I'm saying? So basically, I got used a lot to the end of my career. I won't blame the UFC for it. Just that I knocked out the number 6 guy in the world at my line fight. So that kind of pushed me up in the ranking real high. What I should have did was just lay back and got the experience that I didn't. What I did was I kind of rushed to the title fight, and I kind of messed up when I did that.
Then what about you, Jeff?
Well, I mean, it's ironic that, basically what he says is almost the same thing with me, because basically I got to a point where I felt like I was prostituting myself solely because of my name. And so it was easy for me to negotiate, when they say, well, okay, we're going to give you $10,000. I say, well, no, I'll give you 15, and I didn't have no problem getting it. So, I mean, I started prostituting myself, and then and like he said, I started going in guys' backyards, and, next thing I know, I would get robbed because I was never a big puncher. So, and when you go in the guy's backyard, a lot of times you have to knock them out. So, I mean, and then I took an honest look at myself in the mirror, and I said, I can't do this. I said, I ain't come into boxing for this. So, I at that time, Little Floyd was with Top Rank, so I talked to Top Rank about doing a farewell card with me, Roger, and Floyd, and I retired that night. And, and I already knew in my own mind, because, boxing for me was never my first love. It was more of a hobby for me. So, I mean, it was easy for me to walk away from it.
And Art, you got out of boxing, you retired. What did you do from there, and what did you get, and how did you end up getting involved back with the UFC gym?
Well, it's funny because again, like I said, as a fighter, I don't know if you get a chance to read some of the stories they wrote on me. I started fighting because at the age of 12, my next door neighbor tried to molest me, and I needed some type of background because I know my father had found out he killed the guy. So, this guy had a wife and a kid. It was ironic that it happened right in my neighborhood. So when it happened, I started boxing. I never loved boxing. I've grown to love it because once I learned how to do it, I had some respect from everybody. So I was able to feed off of that. But once I retired from boxing, I worked for Coca-Cola for almost 15 to 20 years. And finally, I went through a life and death situation a couple years ago in St. Louis, and my mom passed away. So once the gyms out here opened up, it was like peanut butter and jelly, you know what I'm saying? I got here, and they were like, they took me under their wings because they knew who I was. So it worked out great.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. The one thing you're most known for is the UFC, which wasn't obviously a pleasant experience your first time, but yeah, like I said, later in life, it turns around and becomes a positive thing for you.
Yeah, and the thing about it, you gotta say, give God all the glory, man, because like I said, in doing so, my life had changed around because I had a major heart attack about 2 years ago, man, and from stress and from what I was eating. And what happened, I actually died. But in dying, I believe that the Lord Jesus brought me back, and in bringing me back, I had a vision in the whole 9 yards, man. But in bringing me back, I give Him all the glory. So right now, I am going to ministry school out here. But again, like I said, I am employed by the UFC, and it's like God just had everything set up for me. Well, I just walked right into it.
It's amazing. You've been through some rough times there. So yeah, it's great that things turned out for you. So you've been working a while with the MMA guys, in their boxing. So Jeff's getting more and more involved into it. So what tips would you have for Jeff as working with these guys?
Well, again, like I said, a lot of these guys, they're so anxious because they want to learn how to fight. A lot of these guys, they teach me a lot. So we kind of bordering because they teach me how to MMA or how to do the mixed martial arts thing. I'm teaching them how to boxing. Because Because again, I not only do I teach the the guys that are more experienced, but also I teach the newcomers that come in, as a group. So in doing so, take your time and just have fun doing it. Again, just realize that these guys, they're ancient, and a lot of times they're making a lot of mistakes because they want to learn so fast. But but Jeff knows, I mean, he's been around long enough. It's like it's the same thing as playing a boxing, but just a different sport.
And Jeff, like I said, you've been getting more and more involved with these guys. I mean, do you see yourself? I mean, I guess I've asked you this before, but as far as is there any chance that that's I know they'll never replace it, but as far as getting more and more involved, do you think you ever become more involved in MMA than you even are boxing?
I mean, I probably, of course, with MMA, it's basically a situation of, because now boxers, I already know there's going to be so many boxers that get in contact with me for boxing. I mean, I just had 3 guys come to the gym today that want to train with me, and I mean, every day I get a new person that wants to train with me in boxing on Facebook or something like that. But with MMA, of course, I mean, it's more like a trainer for hire as opposed to it being something that is not my passion, but at the same time it is my passion in what I do, what I can give to a fighter that is in MMA. So I mean, basically, it's a situation in which, if a person calls me and says they want me to help them with their stand-up, I mean, I'm there. I mean, and I won't even have to think twice about it because, I mean, I do have a passion to help fighters get better.
Yeah, and the difference. I know you're close to King Mo, obviously, but not Kimbo, but King Mo. But yeah, since MMA involves so many more disciplines, do you think that the bond that can be there when you're just training boxing, it's not there with MMA because they have so many different coaches?
No, I mean, see, that's just an individual thing. It doesn't matter because every coach is different, and with me, I don't care whoever I'm training, I create a bond with them, and basically, I mean, I have a very strong bond with King Mo, and I have a very strong bond with Roy, I mean, with TJ and Danny was a little bit different, because they would just come to the gym and they would go, but with Roy, we sit down and we talk about life and stuff like that, and King Mo, I mean, basically it's a situation, it seems like I've known these guys for a long, long time, I mean, and they share stuff with me in their life that, that they probably wouldn't share with just anyone. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, I think that's just my personality, as a person, and I like to get to know, the person that I'm working with beyond just them as being an athlete, but just as a person.
All right, I think I'm back. I'm sorry about that, guys.
Hey, you want to sleep on this?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. My phone called out and disconnected me, so hope you were able to carry on without me. Art, the one thing I'd like to add, or find out too about from you in the last couple of minutes here, how are you received by the MMA community, the current fighters that you get a chance to talk to? I mean, are they really respectful of the older guys that that competed, the pioneers of the sport?
It's so funny because me coming up here to the point where they really, the UFC really took me under their wing, and meeting people like they would have of course, being in the UFC, they have different people come by the gym who to sponsor them, and I remember meeting what's his name, a couple of the big name guys who fought in the past. They come in and it was like they tweeted that they met me. It just threw me off because they were so excited about me being one of the original fighters. It was like, wow, man, I got a chance to meet Art One Glove Jimmerson. But once that name got with me, it was like kind of stuck because, like I said, I didn't mean for it to happen. My whole thing was to basically suck a horse into a good punch, but it didn't work out the right way. But it still worked out where even to this day, I can when people hear my name or see the name, they're so excited about taking a picture with me, about letting people know they met me. So it kind of worked out okay.
You know, I was in high school at the time. I remember at the time, we'd always run up to the video store. We'd rent the VHS tapes, from the first couple, and we watched those things over and over. And, the one thing, I'm still a huge fan, but the one thing with the UFC that I kind of miss, the charm of the old one, is that now everybody's, for the most part, is evolved. Everybody's cross-training everything. Everybody knows wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing, whatever. They all work on everything. It was kind of neat, to see the first few when you had a boxer like you and, a strict jiu-jitsu guy like, Gracie and, pure wrestlers, competing against each other. I mean, do you think that's, hurt the charm of the sport at all, that everyone's so cross-trained now?
You know what? I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of the guys, even when you see Facebook or Twitter, a lot of guys like the original one because, again, it was so new. I just think, it's kind of funny when you look at the, I don't know if you remember the game Street Fighter way back in the day when they had a video game out called Street Fighter where all these artists made each other. It's exactly what it was, a real-life Street Fighter, I just think that I wish I had more chance to display my talent. I just don't think I had enough, I didn't have enough time to learn some of the things I need to learn to display my talent because, like I said, if they had matched up with, probably Ken Shamrock or either somebody like Pat Smith who was more of a boxer, then if I had met Hoist in the finals, it probably been different, But again, I respect the Hoist and all the fighters in the UFC. But man, I think, man, these guys are tough, man. I mean, seriously, boxing, we got a chance to block and move and deal. You're only using, two hands. They're using elbows, knees. It's just amazing how these guys can use every part of their body to win.
Right. Did you feel a little set up in the first one? I mean, now, it's kind of been known for a while that, the first several UFCs were kind of designed to, to make Hoist a star here in the States. So do you feel that you were a little sabotaged?
Yeah, come on, wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? Of course, like I said, they brought me in. They kind of told me what would happen, but they didn't kind of So think about going into that fight. I respect Hoist so much, but at the time, Hoist was nervous. He was really nervous. He wouldn't even eyeball me. You know what I'm saying? And the fans saying that nobody knew who I was. Because being a fighter outside of the MMA game, Ken Shamrock was there, Pat Smith was there, Hoist was there. It was only 8 guys. And then going to that tournament, I was only a legitimate boxer. I was ranked number 7 in the world in the WBC. So, I was going to fight a title fight. So I was really excited about, it was like free money. It was like, maybe I'm going to go ahead and fight these guys with no gloves on. Are you serious? So it got to the point where it's a true story. We were in the dressing room, and my manager at the time were attorneys. And when they found out how barbaric it was, I was the third fighter of the night. We were seeing the first 2 fights. Kevin was there and Dave Frazier, and also saw the one kickboxing guy that got teeth knocked out. My manager, one of them, was literally back there crying, serious. He said, don't do it, man. It's too barbaric. You don't want you to get hurt. I was like, no. I said, I've already made a commitment. We'll do it. Because, I figured I was going to be good to go out there and beat these guys easy. But when Hoist came with the kicking in my face and, throwing me down the ground, even Jim Brown, the commentator, was like, it was kind of unfair because, I didn't get a chance to display my talent. So, again, the early ones are really, really just natural. You had a natural fighter against another natural fighter, and the outcome came out the way it was.
Yeah, it's just we'll have to get Jeff. I'm going to go over to Jeff's house here one of these days, and we're going to run some of the old tapes and let him see how it was in the beginning. You down for that, Jeff?
Mm-hmm. Well, I ain't got no VHS player.
We can probably. Yeah, I'm going to bring the old VHS. We're going to watch, UFC 1 through 10. We can probably watch it on YouTube now. We appreciate
YouTube.
What's that?
I said, we can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, Art, I really appreciate you calling. It was great catching up to you, and it's great to hear that things are, are going well for you. So many times you hear these guys that, from the past that we all remember, things haven't turned out well. It sounds like you had some difficulties, especially with your health, but it sounds like things are great now. So, thanks so much for joining us and letting us know how things are, and let our listeners know, what, how they can follow you on Twitter, Facebook, anything like that you got going on.
Well, I want to say first of all, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. It was nice meeting you. Also, Jody, thank you for allowing me to come over here and talk to you. I want to give praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ again for being alive. Also, I want to say, if you're going to get a chance, you can YouTube some of my fights, man, because that was the real me. Back in the day, when you see YouTube some of my fights from back in the past, you can see me as a fighter instead of an MMA fighter. And you can follow me on Facebook at Art Jimmerson.
All right. Well, Art, thanks again. We really appreciate it. We'll get you back. Hopefully, when you're getting ready to fight Kimbo, we'll see what we can do to help drum up some interest on that.
Kimbo, not Kimbo, right? Not like Kimbo.
No, I don't think you want to fight King Mo. I think you better stick to Kim Mo. I think.
Right. Hey, Joe, I apologize, Joe. I apologize.
No, that's probably me speaking a little too quick. Yeah, I think you got a better shot at Kimbo. Yeah, we'd love to see that. And thanks so much for joining us, Art. We'll get you back. I love you.
All right, God bless you guys, man.
All right, you too.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
All right, that's going to about wrap up the show here. Just got a minute or so left. Jeff, anything else you want to add? What's going on? Oh, tell us, we got 2 minutes left. Tell us what's up with Caballero here.
Well, right now, I'm getting so many conflicting stories, but, at the same time, I know Celestino, and I know that Celestino didn't pull out no fight, and Matt didn't pull him out no fight or anything. I just think that, I know that some of the negotiations, kind of got messed up because of the fact that they were talking about trying to put the fight on Telefatura, and you don't pay nobody that kind of money to fight on no Telefatura. So, I think that was one of the things that happened. And also, on July 20, the original fight that was planned, there wasn't even a date. There wasn't even a secure date for that fight. Nowhere. So
I talked to Celestino yesterday up there at the gym, and for the most part, he's always pissed. If there's a problem with a date or negotiation, he's pissed. But actually, he seemed more dejected, like he's just, he's really sad about it now. I mean, did you get the same sense that he just kind of bummed out that he can't get in there? Because he just turned 36. Time's running out.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. He seemed, of course, he seemed dejected. We worked hard. And he was getting in great shape, and his weight was down. And speaking of the devil, he just walked up. He just walked up my stairs.
Oh, run out of time. We pulling on here.
But yes, I think that it's just one of those things that, of course, he's dejected because of the fact that he was ready. We were prepared for battle. So, that happens, unfortunately.
All right. Well, we got this little bit left here. Slap him on the phone or we'll get him to say something.
He's on his own phone.
What's that? Oh, he's talking. Okay, never mind.
He's on his own.
All right, we'll wrap it up then. Want to thanks again to Brian Vera. Remember, he's got a fight coming up August 11th against Sergio Mora. And for sure, thanks to Art Jimmerson. It was great catching up to him. UFC 1 legend, training out there at at the UFC gym in California there. Jeff, anything else you got to add?
No, just not really. To be honest.
All right. Well, folks listening, check out the website, ProBoxingInsider.com, and also ProMMAinsider.com for Jeff Mayweather, Brian Vera, and Art Jimmerson. We will catch you all next week. Thanks.
Thanks.
Acabo de llegar a mi país.